We often think classroom management is all about discipline, right? Well, today we're going to flip that idea on its head. What if creating a calm classroom is less about being a disciplinarian and more about being an architect? Let's dig into how you can design a space for seamless learning.
Just let that sink in for a second. Most classroom disruptions don't happen during instruction. That's a pretty wild statement, isn't it? I mean, we spend so much time planning engaging lessons, thinking that's the key. But this suggests the real trouble spots, they're hiding somewhere else.
So that begs the question, right? If it's not happening when we're teaching, when is it happening? Where's all that chaos coming from? I have a feeling the answer is going to ring a bell for, well, pretty much anyone who's ever stepped foot in a school.
It's in the gaps, the in-between moments. Think about it. When students are first walking in the door, when you're just trying to hand out a worksheet, that awkward shift from one activity to the next, and of course that frantic energy right before the bell rings. These are the moments, you guys. This is where our classroom either flows beautifully or it just falls apart.
So, here's the plan. Here's our blueprint for today. First, we're going to unpack why those in-between moments get so crazy. Then, we'll dive into a little bit of the brain science behind why routines are like a secret weapon for calm. After that, we'll get super practical with the 3 core routines you need. We'll even cover some common mistakes and how to fix them. And we'll wrap it all up with a 5-minute reset you can literally try tomorrow.
All right, let's jump in. Section 1. The chaos between lessons. We're on a mission to find the real source of disruption. And here's a little spoiler for you. It's probably not what you think. It's not about kids trying to be difficult.
Here's the thing. Those moments without clear structure, they are exhausting for a student's brain. What we see as a kid being off task or disruptive, a lot of the time, that's just their brain basically short-circuiting from overload. It's overwhelmed, it's uncertain, and it's just trying to figure out, what am I supposed to be doing right now?
I mean, just look at what's going on inside their heads. In one simple transition, their brain is trying to do all of this at once. It's trying to figure out the new expectations, control their body, read all the social cues from their friends, and try to predict what's coming next. That's not defiance, folks. That is pure cognitive overload. Their brain's decision-making center is just maxed out. It's a huge, huge mental lift.
And this is the big aha moment of this whole thing. The solution isn't about getting more control. It's about giving more clarity. Because when you give students clarity, you empower them to control themselves. Let's talk about how that actually works.
So there's this really cool concept called the stress gap. Picture this. When a student's brain hits a moment of uncertainty, it doesn't know what's next. It doesn't just, pause and wait quietly. Nope. The brain hates a vacuum. So it fills that empty space with stress. And how does that stress show up in a classroom? Well, it looks like talking, wandering around, pushing back, or even just shutting down completely. It's a totally natural response to feeling lost.
And you can really see the difference here. On one side, you've got the stress gap in action, uncertainty, stress, kids wandering around. But look at the other side. When routines are crystal clear, you're basically taking away that decision-making burden. All that brain power they were using just to figure out the how, it's now freed up for actual learning. And suddenly, they're so much better at managing themselves. Okay, so enough theory. Let's get practical. Let's put on our hard hats. If we're really going to be architects of a calm classroom, what are the main support beams? What are the load-bearing walls? Well, it turns out there are 3 core routines that do most of the heavy lifting. First up, and this one is huge, the entry routine. Seriously, the first 90 seconds of your class can literally set the tone for the entire period. The way kids walk through that door, that's the opening act. It sets the stage for everything else. And a great entry routine isn't just about be quiet and sit down. It's way smarter than that. It's about answering the 3 silent questions every single student has in their head. Where do I go? What do I do right now? And how do I get started? If you can answer those questions for them before they even have to ask, they can get settled and get to work all on their own. So how do you build one? Let's highlight a couple of really key best practices here. First, and this is non-negotiable at the start, make it the exact same thing every single day. That consistency literally rewires their brains to make the routine automatic. The second big one, tie it to learning. Make the first task something meaningful, like a quick review question, not just busy work. That way it feels like learning, not just a chore to keep them quiet.
All right, on to our second core routine, transitions. Oh, transitions. This is where the magic happens, or where everything completely unravels. That simple act of moving from one thing to the next, it is probably the #1 cause of chaos in most classrooms.
The secret to smooth transitions is one word: predictability. And there are 2 tips here that are absolute game changers. First, put the instructions up where they can see them. On the board, on a slide, whatever. This means they're not all trying to listen to your voice over the chatter. It's a silent guide. Seriously, the less you have to say, the better. And the other huge one? Practice. But don't practice in the middle of chaos. Practice when everyone is calm. You're building that muscle memory when the pressure is off, so it kicks in when things get hectic.
And that brings us to our third and final pillar, the exit routine. Look, how you end the class matters just as much as how you start it. This is your chance to bring it all home, lock in the learning, and stop that crazy, chaotic pack-up rush right before the bell.
And the whole point here isn't to cram in one last worksheet. It's about creating a sense of closure. And the most powerful idea here is to separate learning from leaving. Finish the lesson before you even think about packing up. And here's the mindset shift. The bell doesn't dismiss the class. You do. The bell is just a noise. That simple idea completely changes the dynamic and puts you back in charge of those final crucial minutes.
Okay, but let's be real. Even with the best plans, sometimes things just don't work perfectly. So this next part is all about troubleshooting. We're going to look at some super common mistakes and, more importantly, how to fix them. And this is a total no-judgment zone because we've all been there.
This is so helpful. Look at these common traps. That feeling of, ugh, they should know this by now. Instead of getting frustrated, the fix is just to calmly reteach it. Or when one kid is out of line during a transition, instead of calling them out and creating a whole scene, just make a mental note. Address the issue with the whole class later, when everyone's calm. It's these little shifts in our own reactions that can change everything.
Phew, okay. I know that was a lot to take in, so let's boil it all down to something you can actually do. We're going to end with a super simple 5-minute reset. This is one tiny change you can make literally tomorrow that can make a surprisingly big difference.
Here's your mission, should you choose to accept it. Don't try to fix everything at once. Just pick one thing, one transition that's always a little chaotic. Tomorrow, before that transition, just write the steps on the board. 1, 2, 3. Say them out loud just once. Do a quick 30-second practice run. And then, and this is the hard part, when the real transition happens, say nothing. Just stand back and observe. See what changes.
And that really brings us full circle. Because at the end of the day, teachers who try this are often just blown away by how much calmer the room feels. It's not magic. You're just creating a predictable world where students feel safe and know what's expected. And when a kid's brain stops scrambling to figure out what's next, it finally gets the quiet space it needs to wonder, to create, and to ask that beautiful, powerful question: what if?